True to his global status, Nelson Mandela is being mourned and praised by leaders all around the world. Nelson Mandela is being celebrated as a hero of our time as tributes pour in from world leaders on the death of the man who led the triumphant fight against apartheid in South Africa and became the first country's black president. British Prime Minister David Cameron writes on Twitter that a great light has gone out in the world. Nelson Mandela was a hero of our time. French President François Hollande says Nelson Mandela made history, that of South Africa and the whole world. Brazilian President Dilma Rousseff calls Mandela the biggest personality of the 20th century. Mandela conducted with passion and intelligence one of the most important processes of human emancipation in contemporary history, the end of apartheid in South Africa. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Mandela was one of the most honorable figures of our time, a man of vision, a freedom fighter who rejected violence, one of the most honorable figures of our time. Barack Obama, the first black U.S. president on his part, says Mandela achieved more than could be expected of any man.
Trial in 1964. Nelson Mandela closed his statement from the dock saying, "I have fought against white domination, and I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve. But if needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." And Nelson Mandela lived for that ideal, and he made it real. He achieved more than could be expected of any man. And today he has gone home. And we've lost one of the most influential, courageous, and profoundly good human beings that any of us will share time with on this earth. He no longer belongs to us. He belongs to the ages. Through his fierce dignity and unbending will to sacrifice his own freedom for the freedom of others, Madiba transformed South Africa and moved all of us. His journey from a prisoner to a president embodied the promise that human beings and countries can change for the better. His commitment to transfer power and reconcile with those who jailed him set an example that all humanity should aspire to, whether in the lives of nations or our own personal lives. And the fact that he did it all with grace and good humor and an ability to acknowledge his own imperfections only makes the man that much more remarkable. As he once said, "I'm not a saint unless you think of a saint as a sinner who keeps on trying." I am one of the countless millions who drew inspiration from Nelson Mandela's life. My very first political action, the first thing I ever did that involved an issue or a policy or politics, was a protest against apartheid. I would study his words and his writings. The day he was released from prison gave me a sense of what human beings can do when they're guided by their hopes and not by their fears. And like so many around the globe, I cannot fully imagine my own life without the example that Nelson Mandela set. And so long as I live, I will do what I can to learn from him. To Gracia Michel and his family, Michelle and I extend our deepest sympathy and gratitude for sharing this extraordinary man with us. His life's work meant long days away from those who loved him most. And I only hope that the time spent with him these last few weeks brought peace and comfort to his family.
One of the brightest lights of our world has gone out. Nelson Mandela was not just a hero of our time, but a hero of all time. The first president of a free South Africa, a man who suffered so much for freedom and justice, and a man who, through his dignity and through his triumph, inspired millions. The strongest impression of all when you met him was of his extraordinary compassion and generosity and forgiveness. Families across Britain will mourn with his family and everyone in South Africa. Your greatest son has moved millions, and I believe that his inspiration for the future will be every bit as powerful as the extraordinary things that he achieved in his remarkable life.